Does Saquon Barkley deserve to win the MVP award? We know it's primarily about quarterbacks, and for years now, that's been the trend. And the last non-quarterback MVP was Adrian Peterson in 2012 after that monster season.
Long
But
time ago. Long time
yeah,
ago.
yeah, I think we were in middle school, something like that. Or no,
Yeah.
first year high school.
I was just starting I think that was the first year I played fantasy football, was that year with Adrian Peterson. Yeah.
Either way, so far in 2024, through 11 games, Saquon, 1,300 and oh my gosh. 1,392 rushing yards with 10
Uh-huh.
touchdowns on the ground,
Uh-huh.
257 receiving yards with 2 touchdowns. And he
Uh-huh.
also has the second most yards from scrimmage with a new team through 11 games, trailing only Eric Dickerson, who's a
Uh-huh.
Hall of Fame in his own right.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Saquon's rolling. And to
Yeah,
read
it's
off
good.
the
Good season. Good season
yeah,
so far.
great. Best
Yeah.
back in the league.
Pretty good. Mm-hmm.
But to read off these MVP odds for you, Josh Allen, according to FanDuel, Josh Allen leads the way with plus 130, Lamar at 2 with plus 240, Saquon at 3 with plus 700, tied with Jared Goff at 4th, and Mahomes rounds up the rear in number 5 with plus 800. So, should he win it? Will he win it? You answer it all, Dante.
Should he? I think he is just as strong as a case as anyone on this list to win the MVP. I really do believe that. You already gave the numbers, so I don't have to repeat anything. I will say I took him 1,000+ yards and 7+ touchdowns going to the season, and he smashed both of those last week, not even this past week, the week before. So he's already in my good graces. So for that alone, yes, I do believe he should win the MVP. But like you said, it's a quarterback award. It really is. Like it sucks. It takes a lot for a non-quarterback to win this award. Like you mentioned, the last time it happened was Adrian Peterson. It doesn't happen a lot. It really doesn't. And there's exceptions, and I do believe Saquon could be an exception this year, but I think that they're going to give it to a quarterback. I think they're either going to give it to Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. I would probably pick Josh Allen right now. I know he's the favorite, but 9-2 Buffalo. I didn't expect Buffalo to be as good as they were. I know Josh Allen's Josh Allen, but they did lose Diggs. They're not, their roster isn't as strong as years past, and he's not really throwing to any. They got Amari Cooper, but he really wasn't throwing to any sexy names, right? So for him to be leading Buffalo to a 9-2 record, that division does suck, but 9-2 is impressive. Lamar, the Ravens they're not even number one in their own division. They're behind the Steelers. 7-4. I mean, Lamar, you could easily say that he's the best quarterback in football. I probably would agree with you. I'd say he's probably not far off if he isn't, but they are only 7-4, and I think they've had a few tough losses, which I think does knock him down. But I think those are really the only two guys that I'd put ahead of Saquon. I'd put Saquon ahead of Pat Mahomes. I'd put Saquon ahead of Jared Goff. As good as those teams are, their records and stuff, the Eagles are 9-2 as well. I mean, they're a really good team this year, but Philly just has, they have a good offense, obviously led by Jalen Hurts. You have AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert hasn't been terrible. Saquon Barkley, of course, like we're mentioning, they have a solid team that's helping, with getting the 9 wins that they have. Saquon Barkley is the head of the snake on that offense, 1,000%. Besides, obviously Jalen Hurts being the quarterback, but besides him, like he is the centerpiece of that offense. And is a big reason why they are 9-2. But just going off the history of the league and just how what we're used to seeing, I don't think he'll win it this year. Should he? I would say he should win it. Will he? I don't think he will.
Yeah, unfortunately, I agree. I think he definitely should win it. It should be a no-brainer in my head. Just coming to a team that was already somewhat established, but if you think about what they did last year when they were flying high, then they kind of like lost those last 5 or 6 games, lost home field advantage, and then get killed by Tampa in the playoffs, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Like the Eagles everybody's thinking, like, wow, they took a step back. Getting Saquon Barkley is not going to help their ability to win football games. They could be just as bad.
And people were worried because they lost Jason Kelce, and they were just like, that's going to be a hurt. Like, that's going to hurt Saquon. And also, like, I'm going to let you finish, but just like the narrative that was going around Saquon going into the season too, and just like everything with the Giants is another reason why I believe that he should win it. But keep going.
Yeah. Like, no, it's definitely like, I love the O-line point. because this O
Mhm.
line they kind of struggled a little bit, but they played that game out in Brazil, and Saquon still found a way to get yards. And then this season, they only got better with time. Now they figured
Right.
out their rotations on the O line, and this probably the best O line in football, opening up similar gaping holes. No Diddy, just like how they did whenever Jason Kelsey was around. So I mean, this team is a well-oiled machine, and it is on
Yeah,
Saquon's legs, which is
for sure.
which is amazing to see. So I
And
definitely
also just the highlights, the reverse hurdle, the spin moves.
like it's
That's
this dude.
MVP highlights, Jerry. Those are MVP highlights.
We're watching a Harlem Globetrotter on the football field.
Yeah,
Essentially,
yeah.
it's been amazing to see what Saquon's doing. Now, I think he definitely deserves it because if you take Saquon off the Eagles, yeah, like they still be a solid team, but he really revitalized this offense and even cut out the narratives of us talking before the season. Nick Sirianni doesn't need to coach this team. He's talking to the fans. He's doing all this and all that. Where people are falling out of love with Philadelphia strictly because their
Yeah.
head coach, because Jalen Hurts and his relationship might be strained. AJ Brown's a diva. Like all these bad narratives flying around. Here's just Saquon jumping over people backwards and bursting
Yep.
off 60-yard runs. Like 255 rushing yards
Ninth most
against.
in NFL history.
What are we talking about? Like, dude, this is my MVP.
Video
But
game numbers.
like you said, like I said, this is a quarterback award. And I get if you take off Josh Allen, Lamar, Mahomes, or Jared Goff off of their teams, yeah, you don't know what they do. But I think we kind of need to throw out that quarterback narrative and just look at a player as a talent. And I don't
Right.
think you can really tell me that there's been a lot of players actually better than what Saquon's playing like in his respective position. He's too
It's
important. Not
just
saying, good.
it's just an unfair like the quarterback is always going to have the advantage. They're always going
Yes.
to have like bigger stats. Like they're the center of the
They're always
offense.
going to have the
Everything
ball. They
everything
touch the ball
revolves
every
around them. Everything revolves around them. Hey, NFL, I got an idea. If you want, you make an award just for quarterbacks. Like make an award for quarterbacks and then do an MVP award. So the MVP award can at least be a little bit like a little more evened out where it can go to anyone, where the quarterback awards can go to a quarterback. I don't know if that's a simple solution or not, but I don't know. It's just very unfair that quarterbacks always get the upper hand in these types of awards when,
And like you
I'm
see,
not saying they don't deserve to win, but like it's someone like Saquon doesn't get the credit or the flowers that he deserves for having a season that he is.
and all that Saquon has to play for in terms of individual accolade is going to be the offensive player of the year. And
Yes.
that's still great,
That's still
but
a
like
cool award, but MVP is
MVP,
better.
like the last, I got another nugget for you too that I saw this morning. The last running back to finish in the top two of MVP voting was Todd Gurley in 2017. So like they don't even
Mm,
get within the realm of like almost winning it often. It's been 7
right.
years since somebody came
Hmm.
close. Tom Brady beat him out in 2017 for another MVP. So it's like, hey,
Right. It's
what
rare,
can you do?
dude. It's hard. It's hard, man. So, yeah, I mean, I would love to see Saquon get his flowers and get appreciated. I don't want this season to be underappreciated and get kind of swept under the rug because he's not going to get the awards that comes with it. That's all.
Yeah. To kind of close this out here, since the Eagles are 9-2, like you mentioned, that's only behind the 10-1 Detroit Lions.
Mm.
How do you feel about the Eagles' chances of coming out of the NFC? Do you think they have a shot to dethrone the Detroit Lions if they get to an NFC Championship game?
I mean, in all honesty, Jerry, the NFC really isn't anything. I mean, there's not really a lot of teams on here that I'm like, these are championship contenders. And the NFC, like the Lions, the Eagles. I mean, the Vikings are 9-2. I'll give them that. I think I'll give them their credit, but I'm not. I don't know how they will fare when the playoffs come around. And the Packers are 8-3, but it's just like the 49ers are the worst team in their division. Like they're not going to be in the mix this year, and they're always in the mix. So it's like I think if there's any team, I think it's either going to be Philly or Detroit coming out of the NFC. I think if any team can beat Detroit, obviously it's Philly. But I think I'm still giving the edge to Detroit. I'm not going to let the 255-yard game kind of take me away from that narrative because that's something I believed before and I still believe now. I think the Lions just have a much better team. I think than both sides of the ball, offense and defense, they're so consistent. They have I get they don't have a Saquon Barkley, but they have a Jahmyr Gibbs and a David Montgomery, and that is the best 1-2 running back combo in football by a mile. So can they can equal out Saquon with their own their own guys here, and then they have an insane amount of weapons on offense as well. And their defense, they lost Hutchinson, and they still have one of the best defenses in football. So I think I'd still put my money on Detroit winning it, but hey, the Eagles have made it to the Super Bowl before. They know what it takes. And like I said, the NFC, I don't think is really stacked with some of the best teams. So I wouldn't see, I can definitely see them making it back to the Super Bowl. And once you make it past back there, anything could happen.
Yeah, I'm gonna go against the grain, man. I think I'm feeling Philly now. Like
Mm-hmm.
their DBs have actually tightened up, which they were giving up probably the most explosive plays, but they got Darius Slade playing back right. Quinyon Mitchell looks good. Reed Blankenship, like those guys, like it looks better. What's
Yeah.
going on? It does hurt that they lost Brandon Graham with I think it was a tricep injury last night, which
Yes.
sucks
Yes. Yeah.
for them
Out
to
for the
be able
year.
to make that push. That this could be his last year. Maybe he comes back another season. Who knows? But I think Philly has the right stuff. The playmakers on offense, they kind of match up well in terms of like the Lions offense and the Eagles offense. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, the Montgomery, Gibbs, Saquon, AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, like you mentioned. I think their offenses look pretty good. I think it's definitely going to be a chess match on the other sides of the ball, but I'm feeling Philly. I think they made me a believer. Like Saquon's rolling. It looks like even playing against elite defenses, you still can't really seem to stop them. So I'm feeling Philly right now. I'm not gonna lie to you. That they
Yeah.
got me. I'm on the hype.